Hey everybody, it's your old buddy, Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. And guys, this is show number 225. Today's date is 7/16/18. And the name of the show is Comrade Trumpsky. Now guys, Kurt's been busting him on me for a while. Rich, when are you going to do a show on Trumpsky? When are you going to do a show on Trumpsky? Well, guys, I had a beautiful show lined up, and I had all the pieces fell into place so nicely. And then what happened? Trump got on national TV and screwed up the whole show for us. So, guys, at first, we were going to call the show Comrade Trumpsky. And, I'm listening to Trump give his speech today, and I'm saying to myself, what does Russia have on Trump? I mean, something ain't right. And guys, I'm watching this thing, and I tell you, it got out of control. And the first clip we're going to play is from Anderson Cooper. So guys, just listen to his take, what he came away with. Judy, clip 2, please. Right, so
You have been
here's
watching
the end.
perhaps one of the most disgraceful performances by an American president at a summit in front of a Russian leader, certainly that I've ever seen.
Kurt, can you give me a little bit more volume? And Judy, can you play that again? I couldn't quite hear the whole thing.
You have been watching perhaps one of the most disgraceful performances by an American president at a summit in front of a Russian leader, certainly that I've ever seen.
All right. So, guys, you're going to say, sure, Uncle Rich. So you put up something from Anderson Cooper on CNN, just because you want to show the CNN side of the view, right? Guys, no, I tell you what, after Trump got done today, even Fox News, the Foxtitudes at Fox News couldn't believe what they heard. And guys, I'm telling you, when I was sitting home, I couldn't believe what I heard. But Judy, let's have clip number 3 just to hear what I heard. So hit it.
Up, but there's a lot more on this from Neil Cavuto. Sir, it's yours.
This has got to be the most incredible thing I've ever witnessed. You talk about Vladimir Putin now saying, I've got an idea, comrade. We'll exchange information from each side's accused hackers. We'll exchange information. So sort of like, the fireman after who caused the fire saying, I'm going to help you look into the fire. Wow.
It was not a very forceful presentation from President Trump with Putin standing right next to him.
I don't know.
Not forceful at all.
I'll give the benefit of the doubt to maybe jet lag and time differences, but holy tamale. All right, thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks,
all right, well, as Stewart and company just reporting here, we got a very confusing...
Guys, Stuart Varney and Neil Cavuto, when they turn on Trump, there's problems. I mean, there's some serious problems. And guys, the next clip we're going to play, it's a very short clip, but why hasn't Trump thought of some of this stuff? So Judy, number 4, please.
I hadn't thought of that.
One more time, Judy.
I hadn't thought of that.
You haven't thought of that? And now let's play the next clip a step further. Go ahead, number 5.
The Russians who were indicted, would you ask Putin to send them here?
Judy,
Well,
one more time
I
again.
thought of that, but
The Russians who were indicted, would you ask Putin to send them here?
well, I might. I hadn't thought of that, but
He might. He hasn't thought of it. He hasn't thought of it. Well, guys, what happens when other people do think of it and they ask that question? What happens? Turmoil, chaos. And guys, I tell you, when I heard this guy ask the question, I almost wanted to applaud because I'm saying, that's it. That's it. Ask them the right questions. And don't let them get away. Don't hold their feet to the fire. And that's what this guy did. And watch what Trump did. Guys, watch what happened. And you'll see. I'm telling you, if they ever find me dead at my computer, it's because I went into shock because of something that Trump said. And I tell you guys, I laugh. It's unbelievable. I just can't. Uncle Joey, they're trying to get me, kid. Uncle Joey and Ken John, I'm telling you, these guys want to make me Meshuggah. But Judy, let's have some fun and let's watch this guy. He was from the Associated Press. So I don't want to hear nothing from Fox News or MSNBC. I mean, this is somebody that's kind of out of the loop. And let's listen to the question, and that's why we do the show. So Judy, number 6, please.
Thank you. Question for each president. President Trump, you first. Just now, President Putin denied having anything to do with the election interference in 2016. Every U.S. intelligence agency has concluded that Russia did. My first question for you, sir, is who do you believe?
Who do you believe?
My second question is, would you now, with the whole world watching, tell President Putin, would you denounce what happened in 2016, and would you warn him to never do it again?
So let me just say that we have two thoughts.
Does.
You have groups that are wondering why the FBI never took the server. Why haven't they taken the server?
The server?
Why was the FBI told to leave the office of the Democratic National Committee? I've been wondering that. I've been asking that for months and months, and I've been tweeting it out and calling it out on social media. Where is the server? I want to know where is the server and what is the server saying? With that being said, all I can do is ask the question. My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be, but I really do want to see the server. But I have confidence in both parties. I really believe that this will probably go on for a while, but I don't think it can go on without finding out what happened to the server. What happened to the servers of the Pakistani gentlemen that worked on the DNC? Where are those servers? They're missing. Where are they? What happened to Hillary Clinton's emails?
What?
33,000 emails gone.
You
just
gotta
gone.
be kidding me.
I think in Russia they wouldn't be gone so easily. I think it's a disgrace that we can't get Hillary Clinton's 33,000 emails. So I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today. And what he did is an incredible offer. He offered to have the people working on the case come and work with their investigators with respect to the 12 people. I think that's an incredible offer. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to add something to this. After all,
Guys, he's past delusional. He's gone. Uncle Joey, don't sit there and try to defend him anymore. It's too late, kid. Everybody, Marty Heiser, Dave Straight, all you guys, you can't defend somebody that says something like that in front of the whole world. The guy ain't wrapped tight. The elevator ain't going to the top. Something's wrong, and nobody can tell him something's wrong. That's the problem. He's surrounded by a bunch of yes men. And nobody has the Galaducci's to say, hey, Mr. President, hey, Mr. Trump, stop with the nonsense. And you could see how worked up I get. But you know, guys, the Russians are coming. And sometimes the only thing to do is to laugh and to make fun, because what else are we going to do? And guys, we're going to go back to 1967. There was a movie that came out called The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming. Carl Reiner, there was a bunch of Alan Arkin. Guys, if you have the time, it's a lot of fun. It's a good joke. It's a joke. All right? We weren't under attack by the Russians, but guys, back then we were dealing with the Cold War. And there was a little catchphrase that we developed from this movie. But we'll get to that at the second part of the clip. But first, let's have a couple of good laughs. Jonathan Winters is in this thing. A lot of the old classic actors, guys. So, Judy, let's have some fun with The Russians Are Coming. Hit it, number 10.
You see, that is how we got to America.
The Russians have landed.
This whole danged island's under attack by Russians.
Big boats.
Yes.
Motor-powered boats.
All different kinds of boats, yes.
Answer if they're Russians.
A nice little boat.
The Russians have captured the airport. Yeah. Listen, you guys, we've just got to get organized. For God's sake, we've got to get organized.
Just don't panic.
We've got to have ourselves a leader.
It's all over, it's all over. We haven't got a chance, not a chance.
As you can imagine, we were not expected.
Don't fire until you see the light. Get out of the way, it's Agnes Drill.
Those crazy Americans, all we wanted was boat to pull our submarine off the reef and go home.
There's the Reverend Hawthorne, and I'm still in my night suit.
You help us get boat quickly, otherwise there is World War III, and everybody is blaming you.
The Americans were not friendly, I take it.
I would say, not friendly.
I don't want you going outside at all. I don't want you near the windows. You understand? Better yet, all of you stay in the cellar. You understand?
Don't fall over! Don't fall over!
You kiss at me.
You big, incompetent flatfoot! When I finish... For God's sake, why is it we can't learn to live together? You're right, Norman.
Sir, those were just beautiful. I am fascinated. I would like to see the whole movie.
Well, by all means.
Where can we see the rest of them?
At my apartment.
Or at this theater under the title, The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming.
Or at my apartment.
Or at his apartment.
The Russians are coming!
Guys, you know, back then, you know, Russia was a real threat. I mean, you know, we really had a Cold War, and things were serious. You know, we had the Russian Missile Crisis, and I mean, Russia, you know, was not a game. But, you know, we made a joke out of it. And guys, one of the classic lines in the film, and I tell you, I don't know if it was a marketing ploy, but we like to make fun of Russian people and the way they spoke. So guys, there's a part in the movie where the Russians were taught how to tell everybody in the town to evacuate. So they told everybody, emergency, emergency, everybody to get from street. Judy, let's have some fun with clip number 12, please. No, 11, please.
Emergency! Everybody to get from street!
Hey, Ma!
Everybody to get from street!
Hey, Ma!
Everybody to get from street!
Hey, Ma!
Guys, back in the 60s, we led very shallow lives. And something like that was cute enough to get everybody's attention. And of course, you had to go see the movie, right? So, but guys, speaking of everybody to get from street, Trump was just over in England, right? And I want to tell you, he brought them out, but they didn't come out in his favor. And guys, first we're going to show you some aerial views of how active and how the people in London, they love to hate Trump more than we do. And I tell you, there's good reasons. We'll get to that later. But Judy, let's have clip number 12. And this is the aerial view of what happened in London last weekend. Hit it, Judy. Look at all those people. Thank you, Mr. Trump. How many people is that, guys? Somebody said 250,000. Even the nuns came out. Guys, we're going to have some fun with this. Holy moly. Johnny. They all hate him. Everybody loves to hate Trump.
Of Modi in India, of Duterte.
All right, so guys, that was an aerial view. The next one we're going to have is a guy from MSNBC. And guys, when you see the fervor of the people on the street, these aren't happy campers. And I tell you, and then after we're going to show you the clip from MSNBC, we're going to show you clips from Fox News's Hannity. And I want to tell you guys, this is going to be a lot of fun. So Judy, let's see. Richard Engel, and this is from MSNBC. Clip number 13, please.
One of the questions you asked earlier, what do people here feel they're accomplishing with this? They want to make sure their voices are heard, and many will say they have disrupted President Trump's visit. They have forced him up into the air. It is not normal.
He's an animal. He's a fascist pig.
So you can hear there's a lot of passions here. People are very upset.
We're not in Trump, man. Don't put your hand. Don't put your hand on me. You give me the camera here.
No, one second.
Let me tell you about
your
scummy Trump. He's a piece of puke.
Yeah.
A fascist piece of puke. There you are.
Well, we've heard a lot of people say similar things, not always with this amount of enthusiasm, but basically saying that that President Trump is a fascist, as he said.
He sucks. President Trump is a fascist puke.
Okay, we got it.
If you vote for him, you need to be put in incarceration yourself. Here, that's what you should do.
All right.
Okay, we are obviously this is a very impassioned group of people. I want to give just a few people a chance to have some final thoughts as well.
All right, so guys, you could see, I mean, these people are fired up. And one of the reasons why they're fired up is because we're going to play a short little clip of the impression that Hannity wants to give the people that are watching his show. And guys, listen how the people that are protesting, how he gives them the name liberal socialist freeloaders. Liberal socialist freeloaders. This is what they want the simple folk that are watching at home on Fox News. This is the take they want these people to come away with. So, Judy, let's prove my point with number 14, please.
A lot of anger, not a lot of serious answers from London's liberal socialist freeloaders. They're living in a fantasy land.
They're living in a fantasy land. The liberal socialist freeloaders. Right, guys? You heard it. And that's why when you hear people on Facebook, when you go back and forth with, that's why you hear these expressions. You say, where did you get this from? You know? Oh, I heard it on Fox News, but it was so subtle you really didn't realize that you were being brainwashed. Judy, are we on Facebook now? We're not? What's going on? Is Candy around? All right, well, anyway, let's forge ahead, and let's go. Now we're going to show you Hannity on the street. Facebook isn't working? How come? Well, let's see what we can do. Get on it. Judy will make things happen, I tell you. All right, so anyway, Judy, in the meantime, let's have clip number 15, and let's see what Hannity does with people on the street. 15, Judy.
Took to the streets yelling and chanting and holding up their signs and marching around and complaining about pretty much everything from capitalism to everything Trump. But in order to get a more accurate picture of these protests, I actually went down to the protests right in the middle of it, interviewed, well, some of these Trump-hating Europeans face to face. Take a look.
Why are you here today? To protest like everyone else. Just here to protest Trump. I think he's a horrible person and doesn't deserve to come to our country at all. Racist, sexist, misogynistic pig. What is that?
That's Trump.
Now, why don't you like the president of the United States?
I think he's full of basically. That's it. Big racist, sexist pig.
The Trump administration, it's quite scary. It is very, very scary.
Says resist. What are you resisting? Fascism. And who's a fascist? You, actually. I'm a fascist.
Boy, give it to him.
By the way, I was shocked at how many people knew me, and particularly, as you see, there was a lot of anger. Not a lot of serious answers from London's liberal socialist freeloaders. They're living in a fantasy land. Now stay tuned. We have the full highlights of my time in the middle of this anti-Trump protest. That's coming up later in the show. But first, we have new developments from Robert Mueller's witch hunt earlier today. The deputy attorney...
There's another Fox claim, you know, where they just... And it's a witch hunt. Everything's a witch hunt. Hey, after what Trump did today, it ain't a witch hunt anymore. Trump exposed himself. Trump crapped all over himself today. Thank you, Mr. Trump. And guys, the next clip is going to be more Hannity with more people on the street telling them to go take a hike. So, Judy, let's have clip number 16, please.
The streets, and we were asking all these protesters to tell us exactly, specifically, what they don't like about President Trump. Well,
everything.
You can't make this up. Take a look.
Everything.
Why are you here today?
I'm here to protest.
What specifically don't you like about Trump?
I don't like his policies.
What policy?
All of them. Tell Trump to go home. He's not welcome here. We don't want him in the UK.
We hope that he takes this seriously. But of course he won't. He'll just ignore it and pretend it hasn't happened. La la la.
This seems like a party. It doesn't seem too serious.
No, look, everyone's just here for a good time, just to spread a message of love.
Don't you love America?
We're not going to engage with you anymore.
Got it.
Please make your way.
Got it.
Yeah, we disagree a lot, but you're very welcome to be here.
Thank you.
And I saw some people giving you trouble. There's no need for that.
I think America is divided like Britain. I think part of America is deeply, deeply ashamed. And I think part of America has been hoodwinked.
Do you think that the NATO alliance, that the United States of America, is it fair if they pay 70% of the bill? What are you protesting? Are you here to you're just here to have a party, be honest.
I can't believe this is tone, man.
I'm here because of all the hate that Trump exudes, yeah.
I wasn't going to come out initially just because Trump's a
And why are you here?
To protest against the Trump administration and everything else.
And what about them?
I'm okay not being interviewed.
It's a nightmare. He must be stopped.
America, wake up. Vote him out.
It's been hot this summer for a reason, you know what I mean?
Is it Donald Trump's fault it's hot?
No, but I think he's promoting climate change.
Donald is not welcome, and free Melania.
I detest Trump because of his policies, because of his racism and homophobia and misogyny. and because he's just two-faced and duplicitous.
We respect human rights in this country, and we'd like him to see that the way that he acts and the way that he speaks, we profoundly, profoundly reject it in a polite way.
The lies that he's told, not to mention the human rights abuses that he's committed in his own country, we don't think he has any place over here.
I think a lot of British people are more intelligent than the Americans are when it comes to voting.
I'm quite angry. Even though I don't look angry, I am quite angry. Because what I think that he represents everything that's toxic about Western culture and Western history. And I'm furious.
All right. They didn't really have good reasons, but it was kind of a good party. I was shocked at how many people knew me.
It's all about you, Sean. You know why there's so many people out on the street? Because Trump's a professional con man. He's a liar. And the fact is, you guys don't want to own up to it. Well, today you have to make a decision. You have to decide one or two things. Either you're with Trump or you're with the rest of America. What's it going to be? And these Republicans, I tell you, they're pushing the buttons. If they don't tell Mr. Trump, it's time for you to retire, I tell you, he's a sick puppy, guys. And it's, another reason why people are out on the streets is all the broken promises Trump's made. And you're going to say, broken promises. Rich, do you have proof? What's your source? Of course I have proof, and of course I have a source. So, Judy, let's have clip number 20, and let's see how many promises Trump has broken. Number 20, please.
1 year in, here are 20 broken promises to you Trump voters. Number one, he told you he'd cut your taxes, and that the super rich like him would pay more.
Hello?
I think there's very little benefit for people of wealth.
You bought it. But his new tax law does the opposite. By 2027, according to the Nonpartisan Tax Policy Center, the richest 1% will have got 83% of the tax cut, and the richest 1/10 of 1%, 60% of it. But more than half of all Americans, 53%, will pay more in taxes. As Trump told his wealthy friends at Mar-a-Lago just days after the tax bill became law, you all just got a lot richer.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Number two, he promised to close
special interest loopholes that have been so good for Wall Street investors, but unfair to American workers.
Especially the notorious carried interest loophole for private equity, hedge fund, and real estate partners.
That, isn't he?
You bought it. But the new tax law keeps the carried interest loophole. Number three, he told you he'd repeal Obamacare and replace it with something beautiful.
Where is it?
You bought it. But he didn't repeal, and he didn't replace. Just as well, his plan would have knocked at least 23 million Americans off health insurance, including many of you. Instead, he's doing what he can to cut it back and replace it with nothing. The new tax law will result in 13 million people losing health coverage, according to the Congressional Budget Office.
Thank you, Mr.
Number
Trump.
four, he told you he'd invest $1 trillion in our nation's crumbling infrastructure. You bought it. But after his giant tax cut for corporations and millionaires, there's no money left for infrastructure.
But at least the billionaires.
Number five, he said he'd drain the Washington swamp.
We are going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C.
You bought it. But he's brought into his administration more billionaires, CEOs, and Wall Street moguls than in any administration in history, to make laws that will enrich their businesses. And he's filled departments and agencies with former lobbyists, lawyers, and consultants who are crafting new policies for the same industries they recently worked for.
No.
Number six, he said he'd use his business experience to whip the White House into shape.
Business experience?
You bought it.
He doesn't know what
But he
he's
has created
doing.
the most dysfunctional, backstabbing White House in modern history, and has already fired and replaced so many assistants, one of them hired and fired in a little more than a week, that people there barely know who's in charge of what. Number seven, he told you he'd bring down drug prices.
We are going to get drug prices, prescription drug prices, way down.
By making deals with drug companies. You bought it. But now the White House says that promise is inoperative. Number 8, he promised a complete ban on foreign lobbyists raising money for American elections. You bought it. But foreign lobbyists are still raising money for American elections. Number 9, he told you...
I'm not going to cut Social Security like every other Republican,
Mr.
and I'm not going to
Trump.
cut Medicare or Medicaid.
You bought it. But he and House Speaker Paul Ryan are already planning such cuts in order to deal with a ballooning deficit created in part by the new tax law for corporations and the rich. Number 10, he promised 6 weeks of paid maternity leave to any mother with a newborn child whose employer does not provide the benefit.
We can provide 6 weeks of paid maternity leave to any mother with a newborn child whose employer does not provide the benefit.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
You bought it. But the giant tax cut for corporations and the rich doesn't leave any money for this.
Wait a minute. So you mean he gave tax cuts to the rich people so that the pregnant women can't get maternity leave? That wasn't nice. Guys, you're starting to see it, aren't you? It's everything for the 1%. Hey, we got a call. I hope I did this right. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hey, Rich.
Yeah.
Hey, this is President Donald Trump. I'm lying. I'm lying, of course, because, you know, I lied about everything else. So why not have some guy from another TV show at Comcast call and say he's Donald Trump?
Oh, man, I thought you were Trump. I was going to ask you to resign.
Well, you know, I think the Congress is probably going to take care of that for you.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Well, you know, and you know why, don't you? It's because of all his broken promises. So let me get, what a good segue, right, everybody? So let me get back to the broken promises with clip number 21. Judy? Thanks, Dave.
Number 11, he said that on day one...
We are going to label China a currency manipulator.
You bought it. But then he met with China's President Xi Jinping and declared China is not a currency manipulator. Ever since then, Trump has been cozying up to Xi. Number 12, he said he wouldn't bomb Syria.
Good.
You bought it.
Good.
Then he bombed Syria.
But then he bombed.
Number 13, he said he'd build a wall across the southern border.
Oh, I like it. And Mexico's going to pay for it,
Chief of Staff John Kelly says it's unlikely that we will build a wall, a physical barrier from sea to shining sea. Number 14, he promised that the many women who accused him of sexual misconduct will be sued after the election is over.
All of these liars will be sued after the election is over.
You bought it. He hasn't sued them, presumably because he doesn't want the truth to come out.
Why?
Number 15, he said he would not be a president who took vacations.
I promise you, I will not be taking very long vacations if I take them at all. There's no time for vacation.
That's what we
want. And he
want.
called Barack Obama the vacationer-in-chief. You bought it. But since becoming president, he has spent nearly 25% of his days at one of his golf properties for some portion of the day, according to Golf News Network, at a cost to taxpayers of over $77 million. That's already more taxpayer money on vacations than Obama cost in the first 3 years of his presidency. Not to mention all the money taxpayers are spending protecting his family, including his 2 sons who travel all over the world on Trump business. Number 16, he said he'd force companies to keep jobs in America and that there would be consequences for companies that ship jobs abroad.
Go get them.
Are not going to leave the United States anymore.
Thank you.
Without consequences. Not going to happen.
All right.
They believed him. But despite their promises, Carrier, Ford, GM, and the rest have continued to ship jobs to Mexico and China. Carrier, a division of United Technologies, has moved ahead with plans to send 1,000 jobs at its Indiana plant to Mexico. Notwithstanding, the federal government has rewarded United Technologies with 15 new contracts since Trump's inauguration.
Wait a minute,
GE is sending jobs to Canada. IBM is sending them to Costa Rica, Egypt, Argentina, and Brazil. There have been no consequences for sending all these jobs overseas. Number 17, he promised to revive the struggling coal industry and bring back thousands of lost coal mining jobs. You bought it. But coal jobs continue to disappear. Since Trump's victory, at least 6 plants that relied on coal have closed or announced they will close. Another 40 are projected to close during the president's 4-year term. Utilities continue to switch to natural gas instead of coal, and renewable energy is cheaper than ever. Number 18, he promised to protect steel workers.
We will put new American steel into the spine of our country.
But according to the American Iron and Steel Institute, which tracks shipments, steel imports were 19.4% higher in the first 10 months of 2017 than in the same period the year before. That import surge has hurt American steelworkers, who were already struggling against a glut of cheap Chinese steel.
Wait a minute.
Number 19, he said he'd make America safer.
Oh, good. I like that.
You believed him. But according to Mass Shooting Tracker, there were 427 mass shootings in 2017, including 58 people killed and hundreds injured at a concert in Las Vegas.
That's not good.
And 26 churchgoers killed and 20 injured at a church in Texas. Trump refuses to consider any gun control legislation. Number 20, he said he'd release his taxes.
I'm under a routine audit, and it'll be released, and as soon as the audit's finished, it'll be released.
He said during the campaign, he hasn't released his taxes.
Wow. So guys, you see, there's the credits and there's the source. And Janina, I'm sorry. I told Janina we'd be on Facebook. We're not on Facebook. I'm sorry. So. I'm trying to look for you. Okay, but I'm doing the show, so I got to say goodbye, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. Hey, she's a loyal fan, and I told her we'd be on Facebook. But guys, we have, we're trying so hard with the new equipment. We still can't get the bugs up, but hopefully next week we'll be able to get down here and we can get the new stuff up. But anyway, guys, you see how Trump has lied to us. And guys, one of the biggest lies that we're going to show you on tonight's show has to show you what the farmers in the Midwest and in Iowa in particular are going to go through with Trump's new tariffs. Guys, we're going to show you a chart, and when you look at the price of soybeans and all these people in Iowa that voted so heavily for Trump are now finding out that he lied to them. And because they're not selling their stuff to China anymore, the people in Canada are making a fortune because they're selling their soybeans to China. And our farmers are left with their you-know-what in their hand. Why? Because Trump's an idiot and he doesn't know what he's doing. But guys, don't just take my word that he's an idiot. Let's show you some facts and figures, and the charts don't lie. And when you look at the price of soybeans, you're going to say, how could these farmers, without knowing what the price is going to be, the uncertainty that they're going to have to deal with because of this clown that's in the White House that doesn't know anything about business? So, Judy, let's see what's going on with the price of soybeans to prove my point. Clip number 22. Guys, look at that chart. Just look at that chart.
I do think in the long run, of course, there could be additional market.
NBC Newsline is Mike Negg, Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Iowa.
Now,
Secretary Negg, great to talk to you today. Can you tell us, has China canceled orders for Iowa farmers?
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me. And yes, we are already feeling the brunt of these tariffs, and in the form of reduction in the purchase of products that historically we've been selling to China for many years now, soybean in particular.
Is there any chance that you independently go to China with a trade representative representing only Iowa and talk to the Chinese directly about trade between the state and that nation?
Well, I think historically we've worked hard to develop these markets over many decades, and frankly, that's one of the things that's concerning to our producers is the fact that they've spent a lot of time and energy to build this market, particularly China and soybean, and we'd like to see that effort pay dividends, not be wasted. But in terms of what do we plan going forward, we do not have any current plans to send a trade delegation at this point. But we are always in contact with our customers around the world.
Mr. Secretary, do you have a plan B otherwise? I mean, I realize you can't just turn things around on a dime when it comes to where you sell and what you sell, but are you thinking about other markets where you can sell your goods, or planting something else that could be used elsewhere instead?
Something else.
For Iowa, we are predominantly corn and soybean production in this state, so it's not like we will be able to shift that production, to accommodate. We're in the middle of the 2018 growing season here, and so frankly, this is uncertainty that is very challenging for our producers. But I do think in the long run, of course, there could be additional market opportunities for our products if you see a downside to the demand in China. But again, we'll have to see that play out. I think what's concerning to us and our producers is this near-term turbulence that we're seeing in the marketplace.
But Secretary, the soybean producers in Canada are having a blockbuster year. If the Chinese shift suppliers and move to Canada, are those customers that are gone forever?
Trudeau knows what he's doing. Trump doesn't.
No, again, that's a concern, is that we destroy demand for our products around the world on a more permanent basis. Again, I think we have to see this play out. When you look at China and how much they need in terms of their efforts to produce protein for their population, they will need to buy soybean from around the world, and so we think in the long run we continue to be a significant supplier to the country. But are we the first supplier or secondary supplier? Again, those are things that we're concerned about, and we want to continue to have these efforts that we've put forward to develop this market pay dividends in the long run. Now, having said all that, we know that there are issues that need to be resolved with China, and I think our farmers and our businesses are hopeful that we can get to a positive conclusion here.
And do you think that this is going to have an impact on the midterm elections? I mean, this is a state that clearly went for President Trump.
I think it could. Issues that hit the pocketbook certainly will have political ramifications. We've got in this situation in Iowa where the cost to produce a crop is more than what we can sell it for at this point. So our producers are patient, but to a point. And so our message to the president is we can't continue to bear the brunt of the retaliation, and that our farmers really can't afford to wait. They're planning for 2019 growing season and for making economic decisions that will impact them for years to come. And so we need certainty in this marketplace. So patient, but to a point.
Guys, when it costs more to produce something than you can sell it for, guess what? They ain't voting for you. See that, Mr. Trump? And I want to tell you, it's a shame. And Judy, let's go to number 23 as a still. Guys, I just want you to take a look at the chart. And this is a chart on soybeans. And take a look at how this is below the yearly numbers. Judy, you with me? Okay, number 23. I can't hear a word you're saying. Number 24 then. Okay, so let's go. All right, no big deal. All right, so let's go to number 25. And wait, don't play it yet. But guys, let's see what you look at what's going on with the price of soybeans, and then you say to yourself, does Trump have a goal? Does he have a goal in mind other than screwing things up? So, guys, Judy, let's have clip number 25, please.
What's your goal from the Putin meeting?
What's your goal?
I'll let you know after the meeting.
I'll let you know after the meeting.
Mutually agreed. Let's have a meeting. I think it's a
I'll
good
wing
thing
it.
to meet.
I don't know what I'm
meetings.
doing.
Look, I believe that having a meeting with Chairman Kim was a good thing. I think having
and what happened with that meeting?
President
Nothing.
of China was a very good thing. I believe it's really good. So having meetings with Russia, China, and North Korea, I believe in it. Nothing bad's going to come out of it, and maybe some good will come out. But I go in with low expectations. I'm not going with high expectations. I don't really. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you what I'll be asking for, and we'll see if something comes of it.
The Russians who were indicted, would you ask Putin to send them here?
Well, I might. I hadn't thought of that, but I'll be asking about it. But again, this was during the Obama administration. They were doing whatever it was during the Obama
Stop blaming
administration.
Obama. You
And
got
I
the
heard
ball.
that
What are
they
you
were
going to do
trying,
with
or
it?
people were trying to hack into the RNC too, the Republican National Committee. But we had much better defenses. I've been told that by a number of people. We had much better defenses, so they couldn't. I think the DNC should be ashamed of themselves for allowing themselves to be hacked. They had bad defenses, and they were able to be hacked. But I heard they were trying to hack the Republicans too. But, and this may be wrong, but they had much stronger defenses.
Guys, he heard. He heard. He may be wrong, but he heard. The president of our country heard. You don't hear things when you're president. You demand evidence. You demand information. You don't go on Fox News and hear stuff. And guys, what happens is he hears stuff from InfoWars. Remember we showed a clip after Trump got elected? He told Alex Jones on InfoWars he was going to try to do a good job for him. The President of the United States is going to do a good job for a conspiracy guy? And guys, this next clip, it's called the Third Reich. But guys, when you look at this, this is a girl from InfoWars. And watch what the guys do. And guys, we've done a show on this. They get around to talking about Alex Jones and Pizzagate. And this is as embarrassing as it gets. But this is InfoWars, and this is how the simple folk get brainwashed. Guys, you're not going to be happy about this, but this is America. So, Judy, clip number 26, please. Right Wing Watch. Instead of right wing, right wing. Okay, this was Cal Berkeley, guys. And here's
Millie Weaver reporting for
you.
Infowars.com. We are here at UC Berkeley, where some students are holding a stand against white supremacy rally here.
People would think that who you work for is a fairly relevant characteristic for judging somebody.
But don't
right?
you...
I at least appreciate you being willing to talk with us.
Yeah.
We may not agree. At least you're willing to talk.
Yeah. At least you can talk, and I mean, and you're not trying to block us from moving around and talking. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I enjoy watching people do that to you. Yeah.
Well, that's fine. You can be a sadist all you want.
You guys are. What you do is awful. You gin up so much ignorance. Give us an like, example. Pizzagate, dude. Pizzagate. Give me a break.
We want us to cover Pizzagate. We have covered it. We are covering it. And all I know is God help us. We're in the hands of pure evil. I love how the fake news is saying we're fake news. And they're specifically crapping themselves over Pizzagate. And their answer is to say it's all fake. No, WikiLeaks released this. This is it. Leaked all the Pizzagate stuff as a checkmate. Instead of them using this against our government, they've recruited pedophiles in the government.
All right,
have my reporters covering Pizzagate, and I've mentioned it some. Pizzagate, as it's called, is a rabbit hole that is horrifying to go down. Now, if you're a radio listener, this is a powerful video, but I've had it reposted. This is on Infowars.com. Pizzagate is real. The only question is, what exactly is it? Let's go ahead and go to the report. Pizzagate is real. The question is, how real is it? What is it? Something's going on. Something's being covered up. Pizzagate is real.
Pizzagate is real.
Only question is exactly what is it? Kids being, I can't even say it on air, folks. The video, we're going to tweet it out with Breitbart's statement on Infowars.com dealing with Pizzagate. You know, people want me to look into it. I may just have to take off a week and just only research this and actually go to where these places are and stuff. In fact, I'm looking at it on a plane. I just like Bohemian Grove and stuff. I can't just say something and not see it for myself. They go to these pizza places. There's like satanic art everywhere.
Alex.
There's art of these people where they're shoving children into women's vaginas. That's why I can't cover Pizzagate that much. Is there any real evidence for Pizzagate? Reddit CEO, fans conspiracy theory flames by banning discussion of it. Yeah, shouldn't do that. I don't know, thousands of emails talking about code words and stuff. I went to the FBI site, I went and looked it all up, and people ask, well, why weren't you on this earlier? We were on it from the beginning. We've been on it the last couple weeks since the election, but we're fighting on hundreds of fronts here. I've seen this criticism that we're not covering Pizzagate enough, even though we covered it every day. The cries of the innocents are very powerful. These people get power off hurting children, but those cries went up. They've been heard. And now it's up to the viewers to take action. And now it's up to the viewers to take action. And now it's up to the viewers to take action.
They want the viewers to take action, so here comes a guy with an AR-15 to find out the sex slave.
How's that hurting any of these people to talk about the fact that there could be child sex trafficking?
That's an isolated example that results from Alex Jones's rhetoric.
You just gave that example.
For one, so I gave it to you, but you don't want to see how that connects to a larger, broader impact that he has on society.
So you deny the fact that there could be elite pedophile groups that are trafficking children.
Elites have been fucking in weird ways throughout human history. I mean, Caligula, thank you very much.
So then what's so wrong about talking about those instances?
I didn't say there was. Pizzagate was disgusting, and Alex, you knew it was wrong when you brought it in.
There were other groups pushing Pizzagate originally.
I went and looked on WikiLeaks, and they're not even denying this. The media's totally ignoring it. The media's totally ignoring it. The media's totally ignoring it.
No, we're not. No,
I saw his goddamn videos. You're a liar.
No, he talked about it, but it was after other people were originally pushing it.
The media's totally ignoring it. The media's totally ignoring it.
Oh, okay.
He addressed it. You're talking about Pizzagate right now. How's it any different than him talking about it?
Because I say that word in response to your misinformation on it, I'm somehow spreading misinformation, and I'm contributing by calling out what a dangerous impact you have on society, Alex.
Okay. All right.
And you know, guys, what makes a good-looking babe like that want to go to the dark side? You know, I mean, really, why would you want to go to these conspiracy theories? Is something wrong? Did something happen when you were growing up? I mean, why would you want to do this? I know, you want to do this so that I come on and do a show about it, right? You're trying to push Uncle Rich over the edge, right? And guys, the next clip we're going to show you is just, you know, with Trump and how you know, him and his fake news and his nonsense. So, Judy, let's have, let's see, clip number 30, please.
Can I ask you a question?
John Roberts, go ahead, John. No. John Roberts, go ahead.
Watch
CNN's fake news. I don't take questions. I don't take questions from CNN. CNN is fake news. I don't take questions from CNN. John Roberts of Fox. Let's go to a real. Let's go to a real network. John, let's go.
Well, we're a real network too, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Guys, if John Roberts from Fox had any Galaducci's, he would have said, "Thank you, Mr. President," and he would have handed the microphone over to Jim Acosta. And he would have said, "Here, ask your question." And he would have had a set of Galaducci's. He would have said, "You know, Trump, we're not going to deal with this nonsense anymore." And guys, let's take it one step further with clip number 31. Go ahead, Judy, hit it.
John Roberts, go ahead, John. No. John Roberts, go ahead. CNN's fake news. I don't take questions. I don't take questions from CNN. CNN is fake news. I don't take questions from CNN. John Roberts of Fox. Let's go to a real. Let's go to a real network.
John Roberts tries to
Are you
square
giving
up.
Russian President Vladimir Putin the upper hand heading into your talks, given that you are challenging these alliances that he seeks to break up and destroy?
See, that's such dishonest reporting because, of course, it happens to be NBC, which is possibly worse than CNN. Possibly.
Something happened at the press conference that I think needs addressing. The president called out one of my colleagues, Kristen Welker of NBC, as dishonest and said that NBC News was dishonest. He also called out CNN as not a real network, fake news. Well, let me just add that I know Kristen Welker. She's a friend of mine. She is as honest as the day is long. To call her dishonest is unfair. I used to work at CNN. They have fine journalists there who risk their lives to cover the news around the world, and to say that they are not a real network or fake news is also unfair. So just wanted to add that in there.
John Roberts, you always have people's back. It's impressive. Thank you.
Well, guys, at the end, he had enough balls to speak up, but why didn't he just take the microphone and pass it over? That's what I want to see happen next. I want to see somebody stand up. So, Judy, how much more time do we have? Okay, the next clip, we can go with number 32. It's a 30-second clip. And, guys, let's have some more fun. Just showing you. Go ahead, hit it, Judy.
Spent the week taking on NATO allies, criticizing Prime Minister May on her own soil. And I wonder if, are you giving Russian President Vladimir Putin the upper hand heading into your talks, given that you are challenging these alliances that he seeks to break up and destroy?
See, that's such dishonest reporting because, of course, it happens to be NBC, which is possibly worse than CNN. Possibly. Possibly. Let me explain something.
So anybody is dishonest as long as you don't say and do exactly what Trump wants you to do. And guys, you know, I tell you, since we've been on the air, who knows what happened? I mean, who knows? Trump might have resigned by now. But guys, you know, there's nothing I enjoy more than giving them the business. And I want to thank all my friends on Facebook, you know, because I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun with this show, Comrade Trumpsky. And guys, you know, I tell you, sometimes, whoop, we got an awful lot of static, but sometimes Trump just gives us too much material, and we have too much fun. Whoa, what's going on out there? Is it thunder? How much time we got? We're on.